$500 for the car, $150 for the swap, 174,000 miles, 22 years, an engine swap, and no warning lights on the dashboard. I put a VR6 in this Beetle. How much did it cost? I'll tell you. Was it worth it? I don't know. You tell me. The VR6 Beetle is finally reliably driving down the road. I've put about 250 miles on it, and it's been great. So I want to take a moment to go through all the things that we've had to do to get here. I don't even know where to begin, and I haven't planned this video out at all. So what I plan to do is just start from this side of the engine and just work my way around the entire car. So here I have relocated the power steering reservoir. I know that it's probably difficult to see. The power steering hose comes from back down here, goes behind the engine, and comes to right here. Goes down here, through one of those holes down there, and you can see the reservoir right there. The power steering reservoir relocation, part of it came from Pinch Al's garage, and some of it I used parts that I had myself. I think the kit from Pinch Al, I bought it when it was $60, and it included the coolant ball delete, but now I think the kit is going for about $90 at the moment. It's well worth it. As some of you might know from watching my previous videos, the car was purchased by my girlfriend for $500. It came with a 2-liter engine with an automatic transmission. The transmission failed, so rather than fixing the automatic or doing a manual swap, I thought it would be much more worthwhile to put a VR6 in it. We got the VR6 Jetta donor car for $150. $750 for a Beetle and a Jetta donor. Engine, transmission, all the wiring, the entire car, no interior. A lot of regular maintenance. Put a new radiator in it. Replaced a few injectors. I think that together probably was around $175 for the injectors and the radiator. The car does have new factory engine mounts and 1-inch engine mount spacers. I'm not sure if you can, yeah, that's it. New engine mount, new transmission mount, and when I was replacing the mount, the bracket that holds the transmission mount together stripped. So the bracket was replaced as well. Stainless steel braided clutch line, new master cylinder, new ABS module back there. The master cylinder was $60. The ABS module was around the same price. I think it was $80 maybe. I think I got this on Amazon for $20, the filter. New headlights, brand new. I believe they're OEM, so they were not cheap. I think that's the brand for the OEM there. The way that the Jetta and Golf wiring harness is ran through the car, it goes from here to the engine into the cowl area here. But with the Beetle, the ECU and the wiring harness has to go basically right there if I were to pull that piece of the dashboard off on the inside of the car. So the wiring harness was too short for the Beetle. So here, I had to make a couple splices. I extended the wiring for the coolant level and the wiring for the passenger side turn signal. Also, the passenger side ABS speed sensor, the wheel speed sensor, was not long enough, so I had to cut the harness, extend it, put it back together, and I guess I'll just show you. After 22 years and an engine swap, you can turn this car on and there won't be one warning light on the dashboard. Not one warning light. This is the coolant temperature. When it warms up, the blue light will go away. If it gets hot, it becomes red. Essentially, everything in the build is OEM. You can go aftermarket to upgrade some things if you'd like, but if you have a donor car, you should be able to do the entire swap. Timing chain and new clutch installed. Car's good for a long time. The clutch, I think, was about $175. The timing chains was around the same price at $190. And I think the install for those was around $800. When I first got the car running, there was some wiring issues that I was not able to fix myself, so I did bring the car to the shop and they fixed that for about $250 just to get it running. I'm not sure, but I believe one of the big issues with the wiring was that this is a 1999 that had a 2.0 that was drive-by cable, and I was doing an engine swap that's drive-by wire. So if anyone out there is ever going to attempt doing something like this, I would recommend that you either start with a car that is drive-by wire, or you have a Beetle that's 2001, 2002 or newer. Don't quote me on that because I'm not entirely sure, but it's not the end of the world if you do have an older one like this one. I had to seriously upgrade my tool arsenal for this. I think I spent probably $1,000 in tools with an engine hoist, 300-piece Craftsman set, and everything else in between that I couldn't even think of. Just recently got a motive power bleeder to help us bleed the brakes. I installed new front rotors with remanufactured calipers, new pads. We left the rear rotors for now. I have new ones, I just didn't get around to installing them. With calipers that came from a very reputable dismantler, Auto Hoss in Patterson, New Jersey. They'll ship, and they gave me a 6-month warranty on these rear calipers. And you can tell that they're working great. The previous ones were frozen. I actually got a video of me replacing them. You can check that out. I also got wheel spacers, extended lug nuts for the front and the rear. The car does need a window regulator. The motor and door transmission mounts were, I think, around $180 for all three, the engine, transmission, and the lower dog bone. And the engine mount spacers were about $100 from Carrot Top Tuning. The car is riding on KW coilovers. I purchased them used for $400, and it has polyurethane control arm bushings, new control arms, new ball joints, tie rods, inner and outers. Had a wheel alignment done, but I think after I lowered it some more, we're going to get it realigned. All of that together was probably, with the alignment, $350. I had to replace these fuel hoses here, and Volkswagen, I think they wanted something like $150 for these hoses. So what I did was I disconnected them on this end. It's not easy, but if you can get the clamps off, you can put your own hose on. So I was able to save $150 right there. The full exhaust that I had was way too rusted out on both cars, so I ended up getting exhaust from someone locally for $125, entire factory exhaust. Quiet sleeper. And I think the wheels were about $150. We found them locally on Facebook Marketplace. I have new tires ready to install. Nitto Neogens. Very excited. We'll have a video soon about putting those on, see what we think. I have the same tires on the Mark IV 1.8T GTI. And they grip very well with the Stage 2 tune. And those tires are, I think, $95 each at that size. New rotors, new remanufactured caliper, new pads. I think those all went for about probably about $150 for both sides, for the front. Also, we kept the rear rotor on for now in the back. I have a rotor ready to go. I just didn't get around to installing it. I got used calipers from a local, very reputable dismantler called Autohaus here in Patterson, New Jersey. They'll ship to you if you ever need anything for a Volkswagen, Audi, any year. Give them a call, send them an email, they'll take care of you. Not sponsored. I think the calipers were about $60. I'm not even sure what the pads are, $20. The car also needed a water pump. I think the water pump was about $70, and install was $180, mixed with a few other things that happened on the same day, so I'm not sure if that was for just the pump. There's probably more going on. Also, I had to get the fans from a 24 valve VR6 because they are smaller. And I also replaced the fan control module, which is difficult to see, but the bolts for it are right there. That's one of the two gold ones. So there's a little black box that controls the fans. It's right on the underneath side of there. They go from anywhere for $40, $50 to upwards of almost $100, depending on the part number that you have on yours. I pretty much rebuilt the entire coolant system from scratch. That way, we're good. We know that we won't have any leaks in the future. I think all of the hoses costed somewhere around $100 to $150. I think earlier I said I spent somewhere around about $1,000 in tools between a whole new tool set, an engine hoist, low profile jacks, and who else knows whatever else. I think I just purchased a $60 pressure blader, so it all adds up over time. But I also included in that number shop supplies, if you will, like hose clamps, things of that nature. Like every single one of these individual hose clamps and hoses that I had to go out and get to custom fit some things. all of the electrical connectors that I had to use to splice the wiring. This car's built by Zip Ties. This hose used to be for my power steering, but it is no longer functioning whatsoever. The only purpose it has is I have zip tied the alternator harness to this hose to keep it from running from the fan. Otherwise, I would have to remove the entire front end of the car just to access that harness and tuck it between another wire, which I'm really not looking forward to do. So we're kind of procrastinating on that. The issue is, the reason why I don't want to do it is because the headlight track on this side is bent. I think they're going for around $30. I just don't feel like doing it right now. And again, it's my girlfriend's project, so we can let her worry about that. And I think that's mostly everything. What I'll do is I'll add it all up in my head right here and give a rough estimate. I'm gonna say I think we're at a solid $5,000. $500 for the car, $150 for the swap, $150 for the wheels. We put new tires on that, $1,000 for all that together, $1,000 on tools and miscellaneous parts, $1,000 for the timing chain and the clutch and install. I think between the suspension, headlights, radiator, and engine mounts with install of a couple things, I think we're getting to $1,000 there. So that brings us to about $4,000. $200 for the wiring to get it running. I paid $150 for an exhaust. I just got new tires for $400. Master cylinder, ABS module. I didn't even include the brakes. ABS sensors. Power steering relocate. Yeah, I'm gonna say 5,000. Was it worth it? I don't know. You tell me. Comment below. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. See you next time.